Welcome everyone, KD here with Unreal Engine 4 Tutorial Save&Load Part 2. If you missed Part 1, of course there will be a link to it in the description. However, it is not needed for Part 2 to have seen Part 1 because we will start from scratch. So in Part 1 I showed you how you can do a very simple save and load system with only one save slot. In this one, in part 2, I want to show you how you can create multiple slots, so the player has the option to do different playthroughs or create a backup save on a second slot or something like that. I will do a part. In this part, I will set everything up, and in part 3, so there will be a part 3, I will show you how the different ways to use this system. So I will show you checkpoints, manual save, autosave, and dynamic autosave. I will also explain what's different. So again, what I want to say is this save method, I personally tested a lot of different save systems. I watched a lot of tutorials on YouTube. I personally think this is the best one I found, and also it's best suited for my project. That doesn't mean that there are not better methods out there, and it also doesn't mean that for your project it's maybe not the best suited method. Just so you know that. What I like with this save method I will show you is really that after you set it up, it's quite easy to use, and like I will show you in part 3, it's extremely flexible. You can do a lot of things with that. Because it may take some time to set it up, it's maybe not the best suited for a very simple save type of save. As example, if you only want to save high scores or something like that, then maybe it's a little bit too over the top for that. But anyway, let's get into it. So first we have to create 3 different blueprints. The first blueprint will be an active blueprint. I will call this save and load blueprint. The active blueprint, we will use this one. This will be our core. We will use this as core points to save and load our games. I will show you what I mean with that later on. So important is so we can. But what we will do is put every event like saving, loading, creating save file in this blueprint, and then we can also get it from this blueprint again if we want to save and load, and we just have to build a reference to this blueprint, and then we can use these events we will create in there. So because this is the central of our saving and loading, what you have to do, and never forget what I just did, is just drag and drop it into your level. You need it in every map you create, in every single one. So don't forget about that. You will get an error and you may look a long time what is the problem, and the only thing you did is you forgot to put in your save and load blueprint into your map. Also, don't worry, as long as I open up the save and blueprint, because it's an active class, you can modify the visuals. I will show you this here. So you can add components here, but if you do nothing, don't worry, this sphere, it won't be visible. So if you just drag and drop it anywhere you want, you don't have to position it or anything like that. The player won't see it. As soon as you play it, you won't see this blueprint that is in here. So before we go further, we have to create our two other blueprints. Go to all classes here, just press in save, and then we see here the save game blueprint. We want one of these. I call this save pref for save preferences. I will add one more time a second of this save game blueprints, and I call this save to slot. So this is immediately different from part 1. We need two save blueprints. The reason why is that we have in the preference save, this is, if you want the hierarchy, this is our top hierarchy, and then save to slot will be under this one. So everything, so what we save here is system data and other things like resolution, video options, what sound options and things like that we will save in there. And in save to slot we will save the game progress, and through this method we can save in our save preference different slots, and then we will get here a different output. I will show you everything, and as soon as I set everything up it may make more sense than now. So first I go into save preference. That's how a save blueprint looks like. On the left side we can add a variable. That's what I call this slot name. I make this a string, a text string variable. Every variable you put in here means you can save in this blueprint, and saving means the game will remember later on what you saved. Important, every time you add something new, compile and save, otherwise you can't use the things you made here. Don't worry, the default value doesn't have to be anything at the moment. We can close everything here. That's all we need for now, because I don't want to change resolution or anything like that and save it. The only thing I want with the save preference is to choose a slot where I save my progression, and the progression I will save in here. So I will do two variables here. Test integer. What is a integer is a single variable with a value between 0 and whatever you want. It has just to be a full number, otherwise you need to get the green one, the float, if you want not a, if you want like something like 0.1 or anything like that. I will do a second variable. I will call this test array, and I will change this variable here on the right side to an array. What does that mean, an array? An array is nothing more than many single variables like I make it here in one single array, and we can get all of the arrays, all of the variables through this array, and we can use them. Maybe I will show you that. Sometimes it's just better to show you. So when you get an array, we can now we have now two different variables in here. One is 0, the other one is 1, and they are also in 0 and 1 in. So if I get now the 0, 1, my output will be 0. If I put in here 1, my output will be 1. Wait a minute. So with that I can select which variable I want to take. So I will show you that more in detail in part 3. Why I'm doing that is because in many save and load tutorials, many people will tell you, oh, arrays, you will save so much more time if you create arrays instead of single variables. I would say it really depends on what you want to do, how you want to save. And I want to show you the difference when it's maybe better to take arrays and when it's better to just take single variables. But we will come to that later. Maybe I could have shown you better with set. Oh, whatever. I will show you that later on. How you use that. Compile and save, or in part 3. I will show you that in part 3. And that's all we need for now here. This is our save and load blueprint. We can forget the viewport. We don't want anything in here. So we go to event graph. This will be now important. What we do here. We can delete all the events that they gave us because we want to do custom events. Press the right mouse and you get to this option tablet, or how you want to call it. Then press custom and you will get here add custom event. That's what we want. I will call this create. No, don't need that. I will call this create for preference. And what we do here now is looking for does save game exist. Here in the slot name you can say how you want to call your preference save. So I have to say one thing about all the names I put in. You don't have to copy the names I use. You just have to choose names you will definitely remember and not forget, or maybe forget which is which and so on. So just take names you really remember. The same here. Here it's maybe a little less important. Now we will go out here. I look for a branch. Connect the return value with the condition. Now what happens here at this point? The engine or the game will check as soon as this event starts. Is there already a save file saved with the name preference? And then we'll get the return value, and with that we can do different options. So if it's true, I will show you that later. We have to prepare other things for that. So I will show you that later on. And what we look now is no, there's nothing there. This save file doesn't exist. So we want to create it, and Unreal Engine makes it really easy because save and load is quite good named. So create save game object. Now here we want, of course, our save preference, not our save to slot, and forget the save game here. Save preference, this is just automatically generated, I think. Save preference here, and now we have to create a variable. I call this here also save preference. We don't want the boolean. The boolean is red one. We want an object type, but it's actually easier to press save and then save preference object reference. So we have a reference to our save. I will grab this here. I will set it and connect this one here. So now we created a save file and we set the save file we created to our save preference blueprint. So we have to create two more, no, only one more. I will show you the other things later on, everything step by step. This will be save to slot reference for the other blueprint. And now I will create a second custom event. I will do this a little bit down here, and here I will call this create save slot. Then we do something similar. Does save game exist? Now the slot name. How do we get that? Here we can't just select what we want. So now I got the save preference reference here. I just drag this in, and then you can get or set. So get, you can get everything that is saved in this save file. So what we have saved there is our slot name, and we will get the slot name from there. So now the problem is we still have our default value, so this will come later when we will set the name for this slot here. And so if we have now a name here, like save 1 or something like that, then we check again, does this save game exist? And we do the same thing again. I think I explained this when we finished here. We do the same thing like before. Now again, true. I will explain later on. But when it's false, so when the slot name is save 1, and does no save game exist at this point, then we will of course again create one. And save to slot here, so not save to preference, save to slot. And we do the same like before. It's quite straightforward. I forgot here to select the right save to slot. Don't forget that, not like me right now, and then it should work. So you can change here the object reference. So this one save to slot is save to slot, of course, and save pref should be save pref. important. So, however, if we choose the slot name as save2, it will check if there is a save2. If not, we will create one. And that is important. If we create a save1, we do some progress in the game there. We will save everything to save1. And then when we start save2, we will start a new game. We do their progress there. Then we go back to save1, load that. Then we will have different values we saved in the save to slot save. So now we need more custom events, and that's save preference, and then now because we have now the same name here, I can call it the same. So be careful about that. Save preference, then we need of course load preference, and then the same thing for save to slot. Save is also extremely straightforward. Just press in save, and the first thing that it recommends to you is save game to slot. Then here we take our save preference, get, and we put it in here. Then we want here the same name, so I won't make any spelling errors or anything like that. I just copy paste it. Now I'm creating the save custom event for our save to slot. I call this just save. Should be fine. And here it's almost the same. We get the same command. Save game to slot. We get the save to slot in here. And for the name, we need to get our preference again and get our slot name. So you don't have to do this one here again. You actually can just take from here and add this here on, but just so you won't get confused, I want to show you this separately. Now we need load. I can't just type it in. I have to create a custom event, of course. Add custom event, load pref, and here again just put in load, and then you find load game from slot. Again, copy paste so you don't do any spelling errors. Now we have to add a new command, that's cast to save, and then we cast to save preference, not class, just preference. We connect this to, we take our save preference here, drag it in, press on set, connect it, and that's already everything we have to do here. So we do our final custom event, and that's just load. So here I will do it a little bit different. I call now call function. In here you have all the events you created, and of course you just can press in the name and it will come up too. And I will now load preferences here, so every time I load my save game to slot, I will also load my preferences. so we never forget to load the preferences. They're very important, so we load the right file. And then we do the same like not cast. First we need load. We did before load game from slot. Then we need this to again. Then cast to save and load blueprint. No, I'm an idiot. Sorry about that. Cast to save to slot, of course, not this one here. Save to slot. Connect this and get my save to slot, set it, and connect this. So saving and loading the commands are actually quite easy. I go back to my create preferences. So now we can set what we want here. And so when this event starts, we check, does this save game exist with the name preference? False, we want to create it. True, we already have it. So what do we want? We just want to load it. So load preference, we call this function. That's all we want to do here. Then here it gets a little bit more complicated. I mean, if you want to load it, you can load it, but I will show you something else. How to, maybe you want to give the player the option to overwrite everything, and I will show you how you can overwrite your save to a later point. So what you can do actually is just delete. I will show you that later. It's easy to explain after I set up something else. What I will do now, I will add a user interface widget blueprint. I call this start menu. I can't use space, sorry. And I will open this widget. So now, what is an UI? UI gives us the options to give the player options. So now we want to give the player the option to create a new game or load a game. So this is a widget blueprint. We have two areas. In here is the designer area. Here we can choose how it should look, and then we have again a graph where we create events. We can again delete all these events because we will create our own events. I will show you that in a minute. So now we have here on the left side different options what we can do. You can example a progress bar, and then you can on the right side select how it should look, which variables are connected, and so on. So I won't take much time in how everything looks. I just throw in a button. I don't really care where exactly this is. I took a text, put it over the button. I will make this one black so we can actually read it, and call this new game. Then I copy this button and paste it, and now we have here our second button. I'll put this down a little bit, and I will call this load game. Then I go here on the left side, on the panel you will find canvas panel. I will put one of this in here, make it a little bit bigger. And I will put an image behind so we have a little bit contrast in the back. So with images you can of course create your own background image, so you can change the looks, or if you want to make it really cheap you just can here select the color. That's what I'm doing right now. I will put in here text. Maybe I will choose a little bit darker color. Text, I won't write right now something in it, I will show you that later, what I will do with that. Then on the panel you will also find these horizontal boxes and, even more important, vertical boxes. I will take one of these in here and I will show you for what you can use this. Now you can take a button and put it in here and it will automatically format it in a vertical way, and you can again put the text in it and it's black, make it black. And now if you change the size of the text you change also the size of the button. That's a big advantage for because if you just pull in a button you can change the size as much as you want. It won't change the button, you have to manually change the button size. So why I'm using that here, I will show you in a minute. I will call this one here save one. Then I will give in the bottom a little bit space. Now I'm copy this and paste it to our vertical box. Paste, and now you see it puts the buttons in the right order. I think 3 are more than enough for us. This will be save 2. This will be save 3. So now what I want here is, first when the player starts the game you will only see these 2 buttons here. This window will not be visible, and as soon as I press on new or load, this window will come up. So now the way I will show you, you will only need one of these windows with save 1, save 2, save 3. You can of course make 2 and 2 different for, and one for new game and the other one for load. But I will show you how you can save your time of making a second window here. So if you press here, now first you have to tell Unreal Engine about the visibility of our window here. So if you press here on the image, you will see the image will be selected. So be really careful, we don't want to only choose the visibility of the image, we want to choose the visibility of the complete canvas panel. So we have to select the canvas panel. That's something that happens to me a lot, that's why I'm saying it. Then here on the right side we have visibility. You see here on the behavior visibility, forget the first one, we go to bind, create binding, and here the return value I will say hidden. I just drag from this point outside and we get our option panel here, and then we promote to variable and we call this save slot visibility or just this. And when we compile now, you see here default value is hidden. That's how we want it. You can still change it here after you compiled it. And we go back. Yeah, let's save. We go back, and now we have to tell it what condition it's visible and invisible. And I just remembered on time that we need another button, and call this close. So with that we can, this button we can then close our window again. It's just a formality. Okay, we press. First I will go to graph. Doesn't matter where we are. We have to add a variable. I will call this not load, new or load question mark boolean. What is it? Boolean? Boolean is a variable that has two different possible outputs. One output is true, the other output is false, and I will show you for what we need it in a moment. So I click on this button here. On the right side we have our list with options. When we go down, we can create events. I'm not sure on click it what that exactly means. On press is when you press the button. On release is when you press the button, then maybe something happens, and when you release it, something else happens. On hover is maybe you want the text, the information or something to blend in as soon as someone hovered over the button, like if you press this button you will create a new game, something like that. And then on unhovered you will change the visibility again, something like that you can do with that. What we need is on pressed. So just click on plus and Unreal Engine will create you an event as connected to this button. So this is our new game button. We want to do two things here. We will take new or load, just move it in, press set, and that's fine. We want it on false. If we press on it, we will do it, change it to true, but that in the moment we want it on false. We take our save slot visibility, set it, and yes, we want to it visible. So as soon as we click on new game, the window will show with the save slots. So we go to load game. Again on pressed, I can just copy paste everything here. So Ctrl W will make you just duplicate everything you selected. And the only thing that this time we want new or load as true, but we also want to open the window that can stay visible. That's the difference between these two. So now I can here select the text. I can here find a text and give us some different text options. I will get new or load. I just grab the red circle and I will add here a branch. So now we need two return values, one for true, one for false. So when new or load is false, we will create a new game. is new or load true, we will load the game. I hope you understand why. Because we defined before in this event graph, if you click on new, the boolean is false. If you click on load game, boolean is true. So this, depending on what we press, there will be a different text showing up. Let's compile this, save. Up here, so the player knows what we do. Now I can here for close, like I said, this is only formality. I can get the save slot visibility set and press here hidden, so it will stay hidden. Now here we come to the important stuff. So just reason why I did here a little difference is kinda the idea is that when save 1 and save 2 and save 3 everything is together, maybe the chance that the player presses the wrong button is higher than when we have here a little buffer zone. And I think for something like saving and creating or even worse, overwriting our save files, it's maybe important that the player has some little bit security to not press the wrong button. That's just why I put in here a little buffer zone. So we do here the same on pressed. So I will go a little bit away with this event, so we know that's different commands, a little bit different commands here. So what we do here now is we get the reference for our save and load actor blueprint, and for that we call in the command or the function get all actors of a class. I can tell you right now, remember this function here. You will use it a lot, or at least I use it a lot. It's probably the function I use the most. Absolutely, for if you use this save and load method, you will absolutely use this this command or function a lot. Now here you can choose your actor class, and that's save and load blueprint. You can here get a copy, and now from here we can call all our functions we did, but we also can get our references for our saves. It's important to get these references for our saves from our actor blueprint and not create a new one or anything like that. You will get problems if you do that. So I want now get save preference here. What I want here is our slot name, and we want to set the slot name, and the slot name will be save1. Then here, from here, I will get our event save preferences. And then, so what did I do yet now? At this point, we have already created our preference save. I will then show you where exactly you create it and when. I will show you that after we did this here. Or should I show you that now? It's maybe better. Okay. Now I have started with that. I should finish this. So just imagine we created our preference loop save, and we now get our slot name from here. We define the slot name with save1, and we immediately save it. If we don't save it, as soon as we start a new map, the game will forget it. If we save it, the game will remember it, and we can load our slot name, and that's important because the slot name defines how then our progression, under which name our game progression is saved. I hope that is clear. If you if you don't understand something I try to explain here, please use the comments. I will try to help you as much as possible so you understand these things. I will drag in our new or load, and I will get in a branch. Why I'm doing that is because when we look at our design, we only have one window, so we have to define what happens when we press this button when we chose before a new game or when we load the game. So that means if this is false, we of course want to create a save to the following slot name save1. If we load, we of course load from save1, and then whatever we choose, we will save the game, so our game won't forget these things we made here. The problem is, in most games, you jump into the start menu. In the start menu, you can select new game, load game. You can select options. You can look at credits and things like that. When you create a new game, then you will jump into the first map. Or if you load the game, you will jump into the map the player progressed so far. And with Unreal Engine, it is so. Every time you have to load a new map, everything you didn't save, the game will forget. That's why we have to save before we change the map. This will be. I will show you that an example then for that in part 3. But just explanation why we have to always save after we do something. And that's so far all. I hope this is clear. Again, we define our slot name. We save this in our preference save. Then we check are we now creating a new game or are we loading our game? If we load, we go to our actor save and load blueprint, and we will load our game from the slot name we defined. If we create the save, we check does save game exist? No, it doesn't exist. Let's save it. Yes, it does exist. I will show you shortly. So now we can define the order 2. So we just take everything we made here, copy this, oh, I didn't grab everything, sorry. And the only thing that changes is our slot name. This will be saved too. And we create. And here you can make as many save slots you want. You can make 100 if you want to. And here the only thing we change again is our name. Okay. So now you have two more things to do. You have to define what happens when we already have a save in the slot and someone chooses new game. That's number one. Number two is to define when exactly we create our preference. I think we leave that for the last. It's maybe not. It doesn't make sense from the events we go through because this is the first thing we have to do. But I will still show you last and then explain to you what happens when at the end, so you understand. So I mean, what happens here if we have already as example a save file, but the player has pressed on new game and on the button for save 1. Now you can do different things. One thing is you can just load the saved file. Second thing is you can just do nothing, like keep it like this, so nothing will happen when the player pushes the button. But maybe you will want to give him the option to overwrite your save, to delete the old one and do a new one. So you could do that very simple. If you just press in delete game in slot, combine it to slot name. Now you will just delete it. If you connect it then to create save game, you will delete it and then you will create a new save under the name we defined. Or in other words, we overwrite our old save file. Now this is a little bit dangerous if we just leave it like this, because maybe someone wants to load the game and just accidentally presses on create a new game, and then he presses on his save file and then it just overwrites his save file and then instead of loading he has to start from the beginning. So we can hopefully prevent our players from an accident like that. And I will show you how we can, just an example how we can do it. I mean, you don't have to do it exactly like that. I will keep this one here, we will need it later on. Maybe push everything a little bit back here. I will create a new variable. I will call this overwrite question mark, because this will be again a true or false boolean. I will set this here and I compile. Default value is nothing, and then as soon as we go here to true, we will make this true, the overwrite. So we have to do here for now, not exactly. I want to create a new event, custom event, and this is also how it works. Also called override event, and this one goes in here. So when we start this event, we will overwrite our old save file. Now I go back to the widget. I will add a new canvas panel in here. I will push this over our buttons, so I will explain in a moment why. I put in an image. So now you see the window I create right now will go over the buttons for saving, so the player can't press it again or anything like that. That's the only reason why. You can design it differently. You just can close this window and do a smaller window that gives you more information. Everything depends on you. I will make this red so everyone sees immediately that it's something important. I'll put the text in here and I ask the question, do you want to overwrite this save file? Question mark. Of course it doesn't really fit. And then we add again two buttons with text. I don't care at the moment how it looks, because I just want to show you. Yes, I want to overwrite. Let's make this black again. No, I'm accidentally here. I don't really want to overwrite. Please don't. Don't want to lose my save. Or just no. Now, again, we don't want this window to be visible the whole time. So we have to define the visibility. Again, check that you don't only press have selected the image, you want the whole canvas panel. So by the way, on here you can change the names of your panels and so on. So right now it's not so difficult to have an overview here in the hierarchy to find your different windows, because you can hide your windows here so you don't see it. And if you have different windows overlaid over each other and you want to work in the widget, so you have to, and you want to change something in a window that is in the background, you have to use this option here and make things invisible. So if you make things invisible here, it will only be invisible while working. That doesn't mean it's not also invisible while playing the game. That's completely different. That we have to set the visibility in behavior. I hope you understand the difference. This is just for working in here. This window is still there. Even if I press this button here, the I button, it's still there when I play the game. But you can change the name, that's what I want to say. Don't do it like I do it right now. Label these things. If you have a crazy complex widget, it will be difficult to find the right window. So if you named everyone, you just can't press in here the name, and you will only see things that have the same name, so it's easier to find windows. That's just a little tip I will give you. So what is I want? I want to change the visibility. We will do that a little bit different than before. We still make a return value that is hidden from the beginning. I call this override visibility. I will get all actors of class, so we can get a reference to our actor class save and load. Like I said, this is something we will need a lot. It will come again and again. Get, and now we want our ball, not the override event, but get override ball. From here we do a branch. Zack, a little bit back here, and we take our override visibility. If this is true, we want it visible. If it's not true, it's not visible anymore. So now you also could have done it differently with two return nodes. However, I personally had a lot of problems with that because Unreal Engine 4 has here a bug and doesn't always recognize it when you put in two nodes, and I just know if you have only one node and you do it, it's a little bit more complicated, but so it will definitely work. And now to explain what happens. We had here very important, put in here, I will explain that in a moment. Set here override to unselected again. So if we create a save game to slot and it already exists, save 1, then this boolean will go on, will be true, and when we look here, the visibility of our window is defined by this boolean. If it's true, it's visible. If it's false, it's hidden. I hope you can make this connection. Now we have to define what happens when we press yes and or no. Yes, we go back to pressed. What happens here? We again get our reference for our actor class, save and load. So we get a copy and we will from here start the event override. And when this happens, when you see a function instead of an event, event looks like this but blue, like this here, and you have the F for function, then the thing you did wrong, you actually didn't do wrong, you just forget to compile everything and save it. Important. Now when I get override, I get the right thing. But I made this mistake, so I could teach you that. So when I press here on yes, we will start this event, When we start this event, we will first delete the gaming slot. We will deselect the override thing because we don't need that anymore, and then we will create our new save. Yes, sorry, I was just but that's for part 3. What happens after that is for part 3. Then what happens when we press no? The only thing that happens when we press no is we can copy this part here and our override colon will set it to false, so our window is not, we don't see our window anymore, so we'll just close the override window. That's all we want here. So I hope this is clear what I did right now with the overwriting. Otherwise, leave a comment and I will try to explain it in a different way or show you in a different way. So now what we still haven't defined is when do we create our preference, and also we have to tell when does the player see this widget. For that I will create a new level. You can choose for this you can choose an empty level or a default level. Let's do a default level. Yes, I want to save. Let's call this main, no, not main menu, start. And save. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Unreal Engine has troubles with things that are named the same way, so it probably creates now this untitled. No, it throws me back. Start menu, map, save. So we go into our start menu map. If you want to rebuild a lightning, we can for the moment forget about that. Now here when we are in our map that we want to use as our start menu, we can here press on blueprints and then open level blueprints. Level blueprints, in here we can choose what happens when we load a new map and what event happens while we are playing in this map. For the first one, for choosing what happens when we start the map, we have our event begin play. The event tick is for what happens during we play. Event tick does what does the event tick do is it's or what is the difference between them? When we start our map, both events will start. However, the event begin play will only go to everything one time, and then stop as soon every command you put in are finished. Event tick will do the same thing, go through all the events, and as soon as it's finished, it will start again. So if we have variable that is all the time changing, maybe you want to save the position of your player all the time, so you know where he is. You have to do that in event tick. If you want to do something that is only for one time, like create an enemy, spawn an enemy, then you do it in here. If you do it in here, the game will spawn multiple times the same enemy. In different tutorials we may talk about these things more, but for here that's the information I want to give you. Everything we do now you only want to do once. So that's actually the question you want to ask yourself. Do you want it only to do once, or do you want to do it multiple times? We want to do it only once, so we use the event begin play. I get my reference, all actors of class, save and load. We get a copy, and then we create here our create preference, not save to slot. Create preference, save. So what does that mean? The start menu is probably the first thing your player sees. Maybe there are some animations, so if you have already established a logo for you, can I call it company? I don't know. But if you just have a logo for yourself or something like that you want to show off, then maybe this will be the first thing the player will see. But so one of the first things you will jump into will be, of course, your start menu, where you can choose to start a new game or load a game and so on. So as soon as we jump into our starting map, what is probably the first map, like I said, we will create our preferences, or if the preference already exists, we will load the existing one. What you also have to do is loading the widget, and that's called create widget. That's how the command is called. We can here select our widget start menu and add to viewport. Now what we also have to do is, this is not a HUD or anything like that, that is just there to look at statistics at how many ammunition or so you have or anything like that. This is an interactive widget where the player with mouse or with controls can select different buttons. For now we do it with buttons. Also we don't have anything here that the player could control. You can of course put something in the background so that the player actually can control if you want to. That's also possible, but for us we only want to concentrate on our UI. And you see here input mode, you can set input mode game and UI, set input mode game UI only, and there is also option for game only. So if you have something that you want the player to control in the background, maybe you have your character there and he can move around and do stupid things or something like that, then you can set input mode game and UI. But as it is now, we have only the UI we want to control, so set input mode UI only. Now we have to do different things here. Here in widget to focus, we of course take our start menu. Target, that will be our player controls. So press in player, and here you see get player controller, and you can get us here. So now because we control it with mouse, we can also get from here mouse cursor, set show mouse cursor to, let's set this on. So it's on. If you will control it with controller, you maybe don't want to see the mouse cursor, or maybe you can control with the controller control the mouse cursor. But if you don't want to see it, you can set this off. That's all we have to do here. So, we are finished with the whole setup for our save. I will do a really short, tell you again what exactly happens. So we start the game. The game automatically loads our start menu map. What happens? We create or load our save preferences. Then we open up our widget. This is our widget. They will only see this here, new game, load game, and in part 3 I will show you all these things. Now I just will explain it. The player will click on new game, this window here in the back will open up. He presses which slot he wants to, maybe he presses save 1. What happens is we create a save file, and after we created the save file, that's for part 3. Do we have already a save there? We will get this message here. Do you want to overwrite? Yes. We will delete the existing save and create a new one, and what happens after that is for part 3. Or we press on no and this thing goes away again, and the player can close it and then press on load. If we load save 1, then we will load save 1, every variable that is saved there, and what happens then, that's for part 3. That's kind of the how things happens, in which order things happens. And with that, I'm finished. I hope everything is clear. I try to be a little bit fast, so this tutorial doesn't take forever. It's still a lot we did in this tutorial, so there are probably questions you have. Maybe some things are not 100% clear, and if you have questions, anything, please use the comment section. I will really try to help you if you don't understand something is unclear. You can also use my PM, it's in the description. You can send me a private message. You can, if you tried it and it doesn't work, you can send me an image of your blueprint, what you did, so we can look at it together and things like that. So just really put your questions into the comments or contact me if something doesn't work. And in part 3 I will show you how we can use the things we set up here. So I will probably create a short mini game, won't be a real game. and then I will show you the different ways you can utilize this save method. I will show you 4 different things. The first one is saving through checkpoints, and second one will be manually saving. The third one will be autosave after a certain amount of time, maybe 5 minutes or so. I will probably do it quite more frequent because it's just to show you don't want to wait 5 minutes to see that it will save, so you maybe just 10-15 seconds or something like that. And the fourth one will be a dynamic autosave system. That means that every time we change a variable, we can decide if we want to save it or not. Yeah, that's everything I have for this tutorial. If part 3 isn't uploaded on my channel, I'm working on it, and I will, as soon as possible, record the video and edit it and upload it. Please be a little bit patient. And that's all. Thank you for watching, and I hope I see you in part 3. And if you found this interesting and helpful, please consider to subscribe, and of course pressing the like button also helps.